interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Cheetos.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode 112 of Vikings Uncensored. Actually, fair amount of stuff to talk about this week. Got a few news items, some updates from the second round of OTAs, and then, of course, part 3 of our Meet the Rookies series, where we'll take care of the last 2 drafted players, quarterback Jaren Hall and running back Dwayne McBride. So I guess without any further ado, we will start off with the news. Some ex-Viking related stuff. Cameron Dantzler has already been released by the Washington Commanders. So he's back out on the market again.
He doesn't take God, really? I knew that was going to happen. Okay. No, it seems like I heard that he has some mental stuff going on again, and that doesn't surprise me. He doesn't take adversity very well.
No, he never did when he was here. So you got to have some mental fortitude in order to play this game. And if you can't take criticism and you can't take adversity, then you don't belong playing in the game.
Even in life in general.
Man. Well, yeah, life in general, yeah. But
moving along to the next segment of news.
Then on to Vikings type stuff news. Announced earlier in the week that the Vikings parted ways with Director of Football Quantitative Methods and Pro Scout.
Oh, that
Scott
guy.
Kuhn.
That guy, yeah, that guy.
Yeah, him.
I know that guy.
Yeah, that guy. No, the other guy.
Oh, okay, the other guy. That used to be that guy.
Yeah. Basically, what he did apparently was basically the analytics type stuff for Rick Spielman. He was actually one of the first guys Spielman brought in 2007 or was 2006, whatever it was, when Rick showed up. So he gone, but again, makes sense. Kwesi getting his own guys in here, and yep. Then, of course, one of the big news topics that has been brewing for weeks, if not longer, Jeremy Fowler of ESPN came out on, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever it was, saying that the Vikings likely will not just release Dalvin Cook. Seems as the trade market is heating up a little bit. Multiple teams.
Right now it's flowing.
Yep. According to Fowler, multiple teams have interest, including 2 AFC teams. One.
Wonder who that could be.
Yeah. One rhymes with Miami Dolphins, and the other one rhymes with Fluffalo's Shills. Of course, the Miami thing has always made the most sense. Dalvin's from Miami. Vikings have always been saying they want to do right by Cook. You know, sending him home would be doing right by Cook.
Right.
But, of course, Miami also tied up against the cap. But interestingly enough, well, by the time you see this, June 1st, of course, is on Thursday. they will clear around $11 million of cap space with the tolling of they released Byron Murphy with a post June 1st designation, so they will get that cap relief on Thursday. Mm-hmm. So by the time you see this on Friday, Dalvin Cook could potentially be a Miami Dolphin.
It's been speculated for a long time, and if it comes to fruition, and don't be surprised.
Yeah. Right. So we'll keep an eye on that.
In my opinion, any compensation for Dalvin at this point would be just like with Za'Darius, would be fantastic.
Yeah.
If we can get some draft stock for him, and somebody takes on that salary, or a lot of it, anyways, or most of it, I like it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, according to Over the Cap, we trade Dalvin Cook after Thursday. We get $11 million in cap space for this year.
Exactly. So. And if we just release him, it's $9 million.
Yep.
So, and no disrespect to the player by any means. This is we're all we know the business aspect is a little bit dirty, but no disrespect to the talent that he has and still has. But financially speaking, and looking at the bigger picture, it's the move that needs to be made.
Right. And doing that is also going to help with, and we talked about this Monday night on Rhinos Rants, with clearing up that cap space is going to help get Danielle Hunter happy.
And the elephant in the room at this moment, which we won't spend a lot of time on, but JJ, I think we're the only podcast that really isn't spending much time on it because we're waiting to see. But they will help with that department as well.
Right. And we'll touch on that briefly here. I mean, O'Connell was out and said the right things and stuff, but honestly, this is
being handled the right way.
And it's common practice for a high profile player.
This is a generational talent at the receiver position, no doubt.
Right. So right now, him coming to OTAs really does nothing other than risk him getting hurt.
That's true.
Which nobody wants right now if you're dealing with contract stuff.
And he's not his character in my eyes either.
Mm-mm.
So, and the Vikings are handling it the right way.
Yeah, but that's all we're going to say about JJ right now.
We'll let the other podcast discuss all the other stuff. So,
yeah, and if he doesn't show up, at mandatory minicamp in a couple of weeks, then
pick it up a little bit and we'll see what's going on.
But I'm not concerned with it right now. Speaking of minicamp, training camp stuff, the Vikings announced this week that they will have not one but two sets of joint practices.
This was interesting for sure.
Mm-hmm. With both the week before the Tennessee Titans preseason game and then the following week before the Arizona Cardinals, they will host joint practices with both teams. So
I like it. I do.
Teams are, the Vikings in particular, are really seeing the benefits of doing that, I think.
You know what? And you know what, Rhino? That deep in the training camp, players are ready to hit players that aren't on their fucking team anymore.
Yep.
I mean,
and
they don't want to face off against their own teammates. They want to face off against somebody else.
Right. And realistically, the teams, you're going to see your ones in that joint practice, but we're probably not going to see much of the ones in either one of those two preseason games. So it's a good spot for the coaching staff to see, where their starters are.
I think you'll see the ones in that second preseason game. In that third preseason game, it'll be all the dudes that are trying to make a spot.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see. You won't see all the ones, I don't think, but you'll see some of them for maybe a quarter or so, maybe up to a half. But
yeah.
But then another big news drop from this week. Front Office Sports put out a report saying that U.S. Bank Stadium is now completely paid for.
This is amazing. Amazing. 23 years before it was set to be paid off.
Yep, which saved everybody involved, including the taxpayers, $226 million in interest.
Who gets that mark in their credit report?
Yeah. You paid off a $1 billion loan 23 years early.
Your credit score is 1,000.
Yeah. But that's good news. I mean, that, the now the team and the city and everybody else, the state of Minnesota, will start actually making money on the stadium instead of.
That's good too. It's good to see some positive news about the stadium, because last year about this time we were reading some pretty negative news about our stadium, if I remember correctly. About the upkeep on it and how they had to replace some shit, and people are bitching because people like to bitch. So it's nice to see some positive shit about the stadium, and it's paid off. 23 years before it needed to be done, and that's awesome.
And even better, no birds were killed in the filming of this podcast. So anyway, that's about it.
Get up there this year sometime to see it again.
Yeah, be nice. Anyway, you got anything else news-wise, or should we move on?
I think we're set to move on. If anything, I'll hit it later.
Okay.
We'll figure it out then.
All right. Then, of course, this past week, again, they've had the second round of OTAs. As we're filming on Wednesday, we don't have the full thing, but we've got a few highlights in the first 2 days anyway. Hat tip to Will Raggett at Sports Illustrated here for the breakdown. He does good work, and
he does very good work.
Very thorough on his analysis and his breakdowns. Of course, no Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, or Danielle Hunter at OTAs. Again, not a surprise with any of them. Cook, even if he was happy and going to be here, still isn't 100% from his surgery, so he wouldn't be practicing. We don't expect Hunter to show up until he either A, gets a new contract or mandatory camp. Same Jefferson, same thing.
It's business.
It is. It's a business.
Nothing personal.
And I don't fault the players. I don't fault the team. They're doing everything behind the scenes. With those two, stuff's not getting dirty.
Going on, which is nice.
Right. Then a few players that have been held out. This is as of Tuesday anyway. Jordan Addison not practicing.
Really?
Fucking hurt already. God damn it.
Learn to draft players that know how to stay healthy. My God.
Yeah, I had it. KOC said it was just precautionary purposes. He tweaked something at the end of rookie camp, I guess, and has been nursing a little bit.
And obviously,
also,
it's no secret his size is a concern until he proves that it is not.
Yeah. Other players not taking part in practices. Brian O'Neill, of course, still recovering from that Achilles injury. Dwayne McBride, who we'll talk about later, has been nursing a hamstring ever since rookie camp. Still not practicing. Quasey drafted all injured players again this year. Damn it.
Right. I've heard it, though. I have heard it.
Oh, so have I.
People like the bitch, man.
Yep. The ESAT Nation is poking their head out of their goddamn hole. But then wide receiver Blake Prohl, who I didn't realize was still on the team.
He's lucky his last name is Prohl, to be honest.
Yeah.
At this point.
And then also defensive lineman Ross Blacklock not practicing either.
Oh, fuck. What a loss.
Yeah, what are we going to do there? And then Harrison Phillips and Byron Murphy were limited, whether it was just veteran rest or whether there was something, I guess Raggets didn't know. But Jordan Hicks and the Hitman were both back at practice this week after not being there last week. Then some interesting standouts so far. As it sits right now, Caleb Evans appears to be cornerback 2 at this point.
You know, he's a good guy. He's like, can he stay on the field? That's the question. He's in the snaps that he had, he looked pretty. He had more highs than he did lows, in my opinion, which is good. You know,
he just has to learn to when he makes the hit and
technique.
Yep, to protect himself a little better so he doesn't keep getting his bell rung. Then on the offensive side of things, Jalen Naylor has been
no surprise to me.
Yeah, he has been the standout wide receiver at camp so far.
The dude had a 100-yard receiving game last year, like, to go along with the touchdown.
Granted, it was against the Bears, but still.
Yeah, he takes the snaps and he does what he needs to do with them. So
right.
That's what I'm happy.
But they said he's really been impressive so far. He had a really nice touchdown catch on Tuesday. Has caught more balls than anybody else so far in training in OTAs.
I'm sure he catches a lot too. No, I'm kidding though. But seriously, I'm rooting for Naylor. I love it, and people are all talking about bringing in these guys from the outside, but I like our wide receiver room right now as is. So,
but with the emergence of Naylor here, that's making things look worse for Mr. Rager, I believe.
Which,
yeah,
he's another one of those guys I feel the same way about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he makes the final 53, to be honest.
I don't either. Then also KOC was publicly praising KJ Osborne for taking on more of a leadership role this season.
I heard he got the wind knocked out of him the other day, but that, nothing.
Yeah, but Booth knocked him pretty good the way it sounded, and
that's good to hear too.
Yeah.
At least he did.
And then the other one, Brian Asamoah, is looking really good so far the way it sounded.
Yeah, he's going to be a beast.
They had one play in specific. They said he absolutely blew up the line and dropped Ty Chandler for a loss in the backfield.
Beautiful.
But he's doing Asamoah things, flying all over the field. And
doing Asamoah things. I like that.
Yeah. So that's basically what we got for OTA updates. Anything major pops for anything, we'll keep you guys updated. But
Scene's been looking good as well.
Who?
Lewis Scene.
Yeah,
is having a good.
You said he had a pick on Wednesday, didn't you?
He did against Nick Mullins.
Okay.
Yep, on the deep ball, underthrown, but he did. He made the play. So
right.
But yeah, by all other accounts, though, he's ahead of schedule and field, so
everything that they've said is he doesn't even look like he was ever injured. So that's good to hear.
And you would rather have this happen earlier in the like Greenway when he had that rookie injury, the ACL or whatever, his rookie year, and then came back that next year and was as advertised coming out of college. So.
Mm-hmm.
Let's hope Scene can follow that same trajectory.
Right. All right. So with that, we're going to move on to our next edition of the Meet the Rookies, part 3 this week and we're going to start out with one quarterback out of BYU, Jaren Hall. So we'll pop the little highlight reel up here.
Great functional mobility, able to get to the outside, pitch it to Brooks.
Wearing 16 in the NFL, but that was a nice little toss there.
Yep. He's got pretty good touch on his deep ball, it looks like.
He does. He's got definitely above average athleticism for sure.
Yep. His little Philly special action there. He's, they did quite a few designed runs and things with him.
Brooks in the backfield, Hall down the sideline, throw.
That was a nice little back throw.
Fit it in a very tight window there. I mean, that's an NFL throw right there.
And that's the hash for the fucking opposite side.
Another one there. Yep. Drop in the bucket there.
Here's Hall. Plenty of time. He's got a man.
Other hash to the fucking sideline again right there. That's a good strong throw.
Yep. And for people talking about that he doesn't have the strongest arm in the world, it looks like, these deep passes, he looks like he's got plenty of oomph to get it downfield. So
you know what? They said that about Drew Brees too, coming out of college.
Yeah.
You don't know what you have until you see him play in a professional game, really.
Well, exactly.
And he does throw a good back
beautiful throw right there.
Yeah. And these receivers I don't know any of these receivers.
No, that's the thing. You put him with Justin Jefferson and a Jordan Addison, but throwing a 50-50 ball like that, these are NFL type throws. It's not like he's throwing to guys that are 20 yards wide open every time.
And I like the fact that he's a multi-sport athlete as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think that helps with IQ, along with just the speed of the game. And
that last one, he was a little underthrown on it, but
back to pass. Wide opens Rex.
now there's one that was open by 20 yards, but
yeah.
Play fake to Katoa. Hall wide open.
And there.
Rex for a walk-in touchdown. Special programs within our pantheon.
And they ran a professional style offense at
right.
Completion down the sideline. Isaac
BYU, excuse me.
Pump fake. Hall throwing deep.
The colors, man. The colors.
Yeah, that's all the same colors. All right. So, of course, last year at BYU, Hall's numbers 3,171 yards, 34 touchdowns to only 6 interceptions.
I like that. I like
Yep.
that. Takes care of the football.
Yep, with a QBR of 113. So, kid puts up good numbers. You know, he's able to move around. He's got mobility. So we'll take a look at the scouting report here again. Again, we go to our friends over at the Draft Network. Kyle Krabs, once again, has the scouting report for Jaren Hall, and it goes a little something like this. First sentence: if you like gifted passers who can access all levels of the field and throw on the run, you're going to like Hall. He illustrates the abilities of a high-level quarterback prospect throughout the course of the last 2 seasons as the Cougars starter. I'd say he's got nearly every proverbial club in the bag as a passer. He can throw with velocity on his platform from the pocket. Right. Illustrates touch when working throws over the top of second-level defenders, which we mentioned there a couple of times.
Touch is very underrated, I believe.
Well, I'd rather have a guy with some good touch than just somebody who, like a Will Levis, who
every time he throws the ball at
tries to throw the ball through a concrete wall every time.
Right.
And then it says, throw with precision accuracy in the shorter areas of the field while rolling out to his right. I was impressed by how well he lived outside the numbers as a passer.
Yeah.
Especially to the field, pushing throws with velocity and timing to both outs and comebacks outside the numbers.
When you could make a pass outside the numbers to the opposite sideline of the field, that's some power on those throws.
Yeah, and here again with Hall, he's mobile and he can run, but he's always looking to throw the ball, and he's only going to tuck the ball and run if it's a designed run play or as a last resort when everything breaks down.
What you want to see out of the athletic quarterback is eyes remaining down the field, looking to make the play down the field instead of just taking off and running every time.
Yep. Then he layered throws over top of zone defenders, showing touch to the sidelines. He's also illustrated spatial awareness at times, throwing back shoulder against man coverage seemingly every game, and I love how he back shouldered wheel routes to protect his receiver from a scraping safety as well.
I mentioned back shoulder a couple times there in that little preview.
Yeah. And then Hall's feel for the rush is effective too. This allows him to extend plays at a high level, and he's hit several big plays as a result of moving with the intention to throw and feeling where the pocket affords him room. His baseball background, as you mentioned, pops too, as Hall can throw from various angles and crowded pockets if necessary. And he's comfortable with adjusting his delivery, since some of his best throws have come with a blocker and a defender in his lap.
Yeah, I like that when a quarterback can throw off balance for sure, or with, from different angles. He can move to his sidearm if needed, like an unorthodox throw like Jeff George used to have.
Well, Jeff George was one, though, too, that had an absolute bazooka for an arm that would.
Yeah, he could have arguably had one of the best arms in the history of the game, honestly.
Yeah.
So. Anyways.
Yeah, getting back to Jaren Hall. This isn't the Jeff George show. It's Jaren Hall right now.
There you go.
As an athlete, he's dynamic. BYU used him as a complementary piece of the running game with frequency, either on design draws or zone reads. And then he, of course, has the ability to move the sticks versus man coverage too. He's made some explosive plays on the ground. He has all the tools.
I like that report. Now let's see the cons.
Yeah, his concerns: durability. He had 2 concussions in 2019 and a hip injury that sidelined him for a good portion of 2020. Also says he's not really a rhythm passer at this point. Can rush his progressions at times.
That can be coachable, though.
Yeah, it can.
And that helps when you have a good coach. That puts a lot. Coaching and calling plays does a lot for the quarterback as far as getting into a rhythm goes.
It does.
That's what
and like you mentioned when we were watching the highlights there, neither one of us could name any of the wide receivers on BYU. You put him in a spot where he's got Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkins, and all these weapons.
KOC calling the plays.
Yep. Then the only other concern they have, of course, is his age. He's another one of these older kids, but part of the reason for that is that he took 2 years off to do his church mission type stuff.
Right,
so
missionary stuff.
He doesn't,
It's not like he's 28 like Winky coming out.
No, but so he's got the age, but the body doesn't have those extra 2 years of
wear and tear
on him. So, I be honest, prior to the draft, I didn't do a whole lot of research on Hall because I didn't figure.
I wasn't expecting a mid-rounder,
I wasn't either. Because I assumed we were going to get, one of the upper guys. Now, the Draft Network has had Jaren Hall as their fifth highest rated quarterback in the draft, behind, of course, Young, Stroud, Richardson.
I don't like the comparisons
that
these fans that are casual watchers of the game are putting. Oh, he's just going to be the next Kellen Mond. No, this dude has a lot more talent than Kellen Mond, in my opinion.
Yeah.
A lot smarter, too, up here when it comes to play of the field.
Yeah. Not ripping on Kellen Mond, but
right.
We saw some of the stuff that we saw, here in Minnesota with Mond. We saw it when he was in college, too. So
Right. And Hall, with being a sport athlete, I mean, that learning curve is going to be a little bit easier as well.
Plus, as we've seen
about Hall than what I did about Mond.
Yeah. Plus, as we've seen in the practices and stuff, O'Connell has kind of taken him under his wing and been working with him quite a bit too. So,
and that's been wrote about and talked about as well. And just looking at Hall, you can tell that he's going to be a good leader. Just the aura about him and how he portrays who he is. He seems like he could be a great leader as well.
Yeah. Well, and we'll see. I mean, do I expect Jaren Hall to be the next starting quarterback of the Vikings? As of right now, no. But
if he goes out and works hard and earns it, I ain't gonna bet you either.
No, I'm not either. And if all he ever is
not saying that's happening this year, but
no, it's not going to happen this year because Cousins will be the quarterback this year, but unless something catastrophic happens. But if nothing else, if he can turn into a viable backup quarterback, then we have that for the next few years as well. So unless he completely flames out, and even then,
as a Vikings fan in the last decade, having a viable second backup quarterback is a great thing. We have not had one in a long, long time.
Well, there's been many years we didn't have a viable first-string quarterback. So
that's true.
But anyway, that'll wrap it up for the breakdown of Jaren Hall. Stay tuned during OTAs and mini camps and training camp to see how he does.
I'm excited for this next video as well.
Yeah.
This could be a steal.
Speaking of the next video, we have once again reached our viral video of the week. So we'll take a quick break here. Go and grab yourself a fresh cold one out of the fridge. Come on back, check it out, and we will be back in just a minute. All right, we are back, and now we will take a look at the final drafted player out of the 2023 draft class. 7th round running back out of UAB, Dwayne McBride. So we'll flip over.
I can't believe that lasted until it's on the ground.
Yeah, I didn't think he'd go that far either.
And the thing about McBride I noticed is he's always falling forward.
Yep. And he's got some power behind him, and he's got a really quick step. He doesn't hesitate. He sees that hole and he hits it.
He reminds me of Bubba Gump.
He stumbles. Did he get it cross?
Bubba Gump.
Yeah, or Bubba from Forrest Gump.
And 3 touchdowns.
They don't have to hold the stop for us to sign up for him.
There he goes.
But I mean, you really quick first couple of steps there when he
He took out his own player there.
knocks his own guy out of the way.
To at least one possession a half in each game. Dwayne McBride running through arm tackle.
But I really like the way this kid hits it.
Tackle,
I really like the way this kid hits the hole.
Like I mentioned before, he's always falling forward. You don't see him get many tackles or tackle behind the line of scrimmage.
This bring a man in motion across the formation. They hand it to McBride. Coming near side, keeps his feet.
That was a small hole. That was some good vision right there.
Yep, and the balance he had there to get, he's fighting, always fighting for more yards, like you said, falling forward, and
that can hurt you though at some points too, as we know.
Yep.
And he's been known to put the ball on the ground, and that's the reason why I believe he fell as far as he did.
That was a big reason of it, I think.
But then you get plays like that,
right? Or this one.
It's McBride, big play, gets across midfield. He's still on his feet. It's a foot race. They're trying to catch him from
nice
behind.
cut back there to get a few extra yards.
Gets the call, and McBride powers into the end. Here he goes again. McBride.
Well, look at those bleacher seats, man.
Yeah.
McBride inside the 20. Ball game.
Nice short yardage situation here. Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, the kid is
The world is just putting it all together and making it work.
Yep. So here we'll hop back to full screen version. McBride's numbers last year: 1,713 yards rushing with 19 touchdowns. That's a 7.35 yard per carry average. Anytime you're averaging over 7 yards per carry, you're doing something right.
Right.
So we'll hit the scouting report on McBride here. Again, from the Draft Network, this time Bradley Weissman. He writes, UAB's Dwayne McBride enters the NFL draft as one of the most productive runners over the last 2 seasons. McBride offers an intriguing blend of size, power, and instincts as a runner, which allowed him to dominate Conference USA. And again, there were, the instinct part, we were talking about that before, where he's got that quick hit of the hole. He doesn't necessarily just sit back there and wait for a play to develop.
Got to get first step.
He sees that hole and boom. McBride has very good size for the position and is above average overall athlete. McBride's a patient running back who understands how to press the line of scrimmage while waiting for his blockers to get to their landmarks and wait for an opening. Now that's opposite what I just said from what we were watching that video there.
Going through my head when you were saying it, dude.
But and again, we just watched a short highlight reel, not the entire body of work. But if you can do both, that's great. He displays outstanding vision and instincts as a runner and naturally finds gaps in the line of scrimmage and consistently runs to open space when he reaches the second level.
Nice.
He's able to locate cutback lanes and has the ability to cut back across the line of scrimmage to hit the hole, which is what I was getting at. McBride displays a good overall short area burst, which he utilizes both when running through the line of scrimmage to hit the hole and also when he is in the open field and wants to make a defender miss with a jump cut or hesitation step.
Yeah.
McBride's a downhill runner who is best when he puts his foot in the ground and hits the hole with a head of steam.
There you go. There you go, Rhino.
See, I was getting to it. I was just ahead of myself.
Indicated.
Right. He struggles when he's forced to create on his own at the line of scrimmage, and he lacks lateral agility to make defenders miss when met in the backfield. The area in which McBride truly excels is the ability to run with power and contact balance. Rarely goes down by the first tackle and runs with excellent pad level. Legs drive to continually push the pile, which is what you were talking about falling forward. McBride is likely to be viewed as an excellent backup running back or the power back in a committee. Concerns. He lacks value as a receiver out of the backfield and will likely only be utilized on first and second downs.
I don't think that's fair yet until we see him drop a couple balls.
Well, and I think he only had, 5 or 10 receptions last year, something like that. It wasn't very many. He didn't get targeted very often, so I don't think that's fair. But was that because he can't, or was it because that's not what the plays UAB was running? I don't know. I don't spend my Saturdays watching too much UAB football, but
I won't put any stock in until I see him put any stock into that, until I see him actually drop a couple of balls on some flat routes or whatever it may be.
Right. Then he says, additionally, while there are instances of him breaking long runs, he lacks the true home run speed to be a big play threat.
I don't know. He was nailing some pretty big plays in that.
I've
seen a couple of them.
He did get caught a couple times there, but you're still breaking 50, 60-yard runs.
Exactly. Even anything over 20 is fantastic.
Yeah,
from a rushing standpoint.
Yeah, does he have the breakaway speed of a Dalvin Cook or prime Adrian Peterson? Probably not. But
he's faster than Madison, I believe. So.
Yeah, he's got more. I think he's got more explosiveness than Madison does. Ty Chandler also very good on that kind of stuff. So I think the three of them together are going to be a good combination.
Be a good three-headed monster for sure.
Mm-hmm. Ball security is the biggest concern with McBride, as he has fumbled 11 times over the last 2 seasons. So he's got.
That can be tough to coach out of somebody too. We know that from experience.
Yeah. Have to start doing like they used to do in high school, make the guy carry the football around all the time. And if someone knocks it out of his hand, they got to do 50 push-ups or something.
Yep.
Some of that can be coached, whether it's, just a different way to hold the ball or, making sure to wrap with 2 hands.
Yep.
Adrian Peterson was one of the best running backs ever to play the game, and he fumbled.
That's what we've been talking about. Yeah.
Yep. He fumbled way too much for my liking.
And coming from somebody that's been talked about how strong his handshake is, what the fuck are you doing putting the ball on the ground then? I don't understand that.
But Adrian's thing
is so hard that you get 5 people up in there ripping and tearing at the ball. Then there's no way that he's going to.
And that was Adrian's biggest problem, and I think maybe a little bit might fall on McBride having the same issue, is
pushing too hard.
Always fighting for that extra 6 inches or a yard when it may have been the smarter play to just go down.
It was getting to the point that defenders were holding Peterson up so they could punch the ball out.
Yep. So,
and that's because he was fighting for more yards.
Right. It's one of those, you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them kind of thing. And sometimes it's best to, take an 8-yard gain instead of pushing for 12 and losing the ball.
Possession of the ball when the next play comes.
Right. You don't have to hit it. You don't have to hit a home run every play. So it's just be smart with the ball. That's.
Or you got, guys like Dante Culpepper letting the winds cause fumbles.
Well, but.
Or ghosts.
Dante Culpepper had the hands of a 5-year-old though too. So.
That was just so frustrating with Pep.
Oh, I know.
There'd be nobody around him, and then the ball fucking pops out of his hands.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways.
Yeah. This isn't the Dante Culpepper show either. We'll talk about him probably next week.
Hey, Brunswick's best 11 next week.
Yes. So a little lead in for next week. Anything else you want to hit on McBride, or?
I think we got both these guys pretty well this week.
But anyway, that's about all we got for this week. Again, want to thank everybody for watching. If you're back out and about, supposed to be a nice weekend this coming weekend. So take us with you out on the lake, whether you're out on the pontoon sipping some cold ones and just cruising around, whether you're out fishing, whatever. We're all over the place. If you've not done so yet, please hit that subscribe button down there. Helps us out a ton. Like the videos, comment. You want to see something on the show, let us know. We'll see what we can do about it. We do this show for you guys, so got a few good things coming.
For that money.
Yes.
Real hard for it, honey.
They work hard for the money, so they better treat you right.
Yeah, there you go.
Got a couple things in the works here that I think you guys would like coming on to kind of fill some time here in the off season. So stay tuned for that. But with that, why don't you take us home, Lance?
Well, speaking of Adrian Peterson, there's been some speculation about him possibly making a return to the NFL game. Did you see that?
Yeah, basically he isn't ready to retire yet, but
his brain has not yet said it's time to retire.
His body said it was time to retire 4 years ago,
and the fact that he got knocked out by Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
Apparently he has a glass jaw. So, but anyway, with that being said, I love you, Adrian. If you watch the show, which I'm sure you do.
Oh, of course.
So anyways, I hope you all enjoyed the show. We'll see you next week with 113.
All right. Have a good weekend, everybody.